Well, it wasn't the top of my priority list up until January of 2025, but military and sovereignty, that part of our platform to me has become the most important. We're a nation with not much help around us. There are four nations that are either openly threatening us or secretly threatening us. And we're learning a little bit more about them four nations. I don't think I need to say them out loud. We need to not worry about promising tax breaks. We need to realize that responsible spending has to happen in this country. We need more troops in the Canadian Armed Forces. We need to pay the existing ones better. We need to buy ships. We need to buy ammunition. We need to arm ourselves for these threats that are coming in our country. We need to cancel the F-35s and look at an alternative such as the Raphael or the Griffin. And we need to show the world that we're serious in joining the groups of nations that are spending above their GDP in NATO. We need to be at 5%. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but sometimes the hardest, how would you put it, the hard parts of life mean you have to do it regardless of your pocketbook. Responsible spending is going to be what we need to do in the near future to protect our country. Well, I am not as high profile as some of the candidates in our election this year. I'm a blue collar, hardworking guy. Small town Saskatchewan. I mean, bigger in Saskatchewan, but smaller in the grand scheme of things. I've been telling a lot of people that if they're sick of the two mega parties in this country, that they need to think about an alternative, because it's like watching a game of pickleball or volleyball. It's back and forth, and the House of Commons has become kind of an embarrassment. We need to teach them a lesson in humility, and I think our party shows humility. The hard center is the biggest place for people to come and, as a group, come together. Our party leader, Dominic Carty, has said that 70% of Canadians are moderates. If we could tap that potential of 70% of voting Canadians, we could change this country in a way that the other parties haven't been able to. We're a party of 2024, 2025, not a party of 1867. That's what I kind of tell my constituents. It's time for another party or another group of Canadians to, in my opinion, save our country. It's an interesting story. Nearing the end of COVID, my therapist that I see quite regularly had told me that doom scrolling was not a way to make myself a better person, to find something and be passionate in it. So I started Google searching politics, and I came across something called the Centerized Conservatives. And it was a very small group of people with bold ideas. And I joined the mailing list instantly because I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly the same kind of people as me. I've always been a progressive conservative, a little bit right of center, but that's on the fiscal side of things. So, 2.5 years later, I find myself in Ottawa at our very first convention, voting on resolutions and party policy. So I just believe in the party that it's the best party for all of us in Canada, and I'm so proud to be part of it. It's been a journey that's been well worth it. At 53, I'm ready for change, and our party is one of change. Now, again, earlier I said I'm a little bit different than most. I have zero experience in politics. However, I have many years of watching somebody in politics. My dad was in municipal government for over 40 years of his life. And you kind of learn things by watching, listening to telephone calls at my supper table. So I have life, hard work, honesty, and humility. That's what I have to offer my constituents as an MP. I know when to be fair, I know when to be the adult in the room, and I know when you have to take charge. I was a private business owner for 30 plus years before I got injured on the job site. So I just, I think I have the acumen to show people that sometimes you don't have to have the letters behind your name. Secondary education is an absolute great thing if you can do it. But I worked hard my entire life, starting right from high school to 2019. So I know what it takes to make a business, own a business, and run a business. I think those are qualities that are well suited for an MP. And to toot my own horn, I could say any one of my employees always left on good terms, and they still to this day always look me up and want to shake my hand. So that's another quality that I'm pretty proud of. Well, like Dominic said, it's interesting when you live in your own riding your entire life. It starts with being a child and the local fair. It didn't matter if you were watching the Percherons and the other large horses pulling the weights across the inner track. The local demolition derby was something that my dad and I had fun watching. I can remember days where it was 3 days long, over 150 cars of smash and trash and just full adrenaline. Another thing people might not know is where I live, I was literally a quarter mile from the local train tracks. So we could hear the train whistle and we would ride our pedal bikes as fast as we could to the rural crossing on our grid road, and we would wave to the engineers and get them to blow the horn, and that was like an 8 times a week thing. They were just collecting grain from the community of Rex or Green Street, Saskatchewan, both little itty bitty spots on the map, but it was always a fun thing to do. And then going up a little bit further, we spent summers upon summers at Loon Lake, Lower Macwa, and Little Fishing Lake with friends and family. I can think of water skiing and fishing and swimming lessons, and I could go on for hours. And finally, the last thing is I am proud to say I got to see Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip come to Lloydminster and plant evergreens at our local museum outside the United Church, which was the first structure ever built in our city by the Bar colonists. And those evergreens are still here to this day. So, not too often a prairie kid gets to see the monarch of a commonwealth. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty young. I take pictures to kind of really remember it all, but that's kind of, from cows to queens. That's what my riding's all about. So those are my memories from being in this riding for sure.